Beloved child, stop everything you are doing right now. Archangel, Michael is standing before you at this very moment, and the message he carries has been sealed in heaven specifically for your ears. Today is not just another ordinary moment in your life. Today is the divine turning point that was written into the fabric of your destiny long before you took your first breath. The season of emptiness that tormented your spirit. The endless nights where you questioned whether heaven even remembered your name. All of that ends right here. Before this message reaches its final word, you will understand with absolute clarity exactly why every painful delay was orchestrated by the hand of the Almighty to bring you to this precise second. Do not scroll past this. Do not let your mind wander. Archangel Michael has crossed the boundary between the celestial realm and your world, because what is about to unfold in your life cannot wait a single moment longer. The corridors of heaven are vibrating with anticipation, because the decree that was spoken over you in the throne room of the Most High is now being released into your earthly reality. Angels who have been stationed around your life in silent formation are receiving their final orders. And those orders concern everything you have been carrying in your heart. I need you to hear this with every fiber of your being. Your supplications were never lost. Not a single whispered plea that escaped your lips in the darkness was overlooked. Every tear that fell from your weary eyes was gathered by celestial hands and transformed into something so powerful that the forces of opposition trembled when they saw what was being prepared for you. The Most High collected each one of those sacred drops and used them as the raw material for your approaching miracle. What the enemy intended as evidence of your breaking became the very fuel for your elevation. Archangel Michael tells you now, the throne room has been consumed with activity surrounding your situation. Conversations have taken place between the Most High and his celestial council about the precise timing of your deliverance. Your name has been spoken aloud in holy chambers, where only the most urgent matters of divine intervention are discussed. And the verdict that came back was unanimous. It is time. Not tomorrow. Not next month. Not in some distant season you cannot yet see. Today. Right now, as these words penetrate your spirit, the gears of heaven are turning in a direction that cannot be reversed. If this message has already stirred something deep within your chest, if you can feel the warmth of divine presence beginning to settle over your shoulders like a mantle, type Amen in the comments below. Let that single sacred word become your first act of agreement with what heaven is releasing over your life today. You have endured something that most people will never understand. The weight of prolonged expectation sat upon your shoulders like iron chains that grew heavier with each passing sunrise. You watched others receive the very things you had been faithfully petitioning for, and you fought the burning temptation to ask whether the Almighty had confused your file with someone else's. Archangel Michael saw every single one of those moments. He witnessed the nights when you lay motionless in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if your prayers had somehow gotten stuck between earth and heaven, trapped in some spiritual corridor where nobody could hear them. But I need you to understand something vital. Those prayers did not get stuck. They arrived at the throne room with force. Each one carried the frequency of genuine faith, and that frequency shook the foundations of the celestial courts. The angelic scribes documented every word. They recorded the exact hour, the precise emotion, and the specific request attached to each petition. Nothing was approximate. Nothing was generalized. Your prayers were treated with the same surgical precision that the Most High used when he positioned the stars in their constellations. And here is what you did not know while you were enduring that excruciating silence. The reason heaven appeared quiet was not because heaven was inactive. It was because heaven was operating at a frequency your human senses could not detect. Beneath the surface of what looked like abandonment, an army of celestial architects was constructing the infrastructure for your breakthrough. They were laying foundations in dimensions you cannot access with your physical eyes. They were building bridges between your present reality and the future that the Most High had already completed in the spiritual realm. The silence was not emptiness. The silence was construction. Archangel Michael now reveals to you the magnitude of what was being assembled during your season of hiddenness. The Most High did not simply answer your prayer. He expanded the answer beyond anything your finite imagination could have constructed. While you were asking for a door to open, he was building an entire hallway of doors, each one leading to a blessing you did not even know you needed. While you were requesting relief from one burden, he was engineering a comprehensive liberation that would address burdens you had not yet identified. The scope of what has been prepared for you is so vast that it required every single day of that waiting period to bring it to completion. You prayed for provision, but he designed overflow. You requested healing, but he orchestrated wholeness. You begged for peace, but he constructed an unshakable fortress around your mind, your emotions, and your spirit that no circumstance will ever penetrate again. This is why the timing could not be rushed. The blessing that is now descending upon your life is not a temporary fix. It is a permanent restructuring of your reality, and permanent things take time to build. Archangel Michael wants you to understand something about the nature of divine architecture that will permanently change the way you interpret every season of your life. The Most High does not build the way human beings build. Humans construct from the ground upward, starting with what is visible and working toward completion. The Almighty builds from completion, backward, starting with the finished masterpiece and then arranging every circumstance, every delay, every redirection, and every seemingly random event to serve the perfection of that final design. This means that your breakthrough was finished before your trial even began. The answer existed before the question formed in your mind. The provision was allocated before the need arose. The healing was accomplished before the wound was inflicted. You were living inside a story that had already been written to its glorious conclusion, and every chapter of difficulty was simply the necessary pathway to that conclusion. The Most High never improvises, he never reacts. He orchestrates. And the orchestration of your life has been nothing short of masterful. If you have been walking with this channel, if these messages have become a source of strength during your most difficult seasons, take a moment right now to subscribe and activate that notification bell. This is not about numbers or algorithms. This is about ensuring that the next message heaven sends through this space reaches you at the exact moment you need it most. The divine timing that brought you here today is the same timing that will bring you back when the next critical word is released. Do not leave this connection to chance. There is a picture the Most High wants you to hold in your mind as you continue to absorb this message. Imagine a master craftsman who has spent decades working on a single masterpiece behind closed doors. The world outside could not see what was being shaped. The neighbors heard the sounds of hammering and assumed nothing meaningful was happening. But behind that door, every stroke was intentional. Every measurement was calculated to the fraction. Every joint was fitted with a precision that only decades of expertise could produce. The delay was never inactivity. The delay was artistry applied at a pace that refuses to compromise quality for speed. Your life is that masterpiece. The Most High has been working behind the closed door of the spiritual realm with the same relentless precision. He measured the depth of your character and built accordingly. He tested the strength of your foundation and reinforced where reinforcement was needed. He examined the alignment of your purpose and adjusted every angle until the entire structure pointed toward the future he designed for you. The hammering you heard during your season of waiting, the sounds that sometimes kept you awake with anxiety, those were the sounds of perfection being applied to your story. And today, the door is opening. The masterpiece is being unveiled, and what steps through that doorway will cause every person who witnessed your struggle to understand that the delay was not punishment. It was the price of excellence. Now, Archangel Michael is going to tell you something that will reframe everything you thought you understood about your season of difficulty. Listen with your spirit, not just your ears, because this truth has the power to heal wounds that have been festering for years. The waiting was never a punishment. I know that is what your mind told you. I know that somewhere in the depths of your exhaustion, a voice whispered that you must have done something wrong, that the delay was a consequence of some failure you could not identify. That voice was a lie, crafted by the adversary to steal the very thing the Most High was building inside you. The truth is the opposite of what you feared. The waiting was a sacred incubation period, designed by infinite wisdom to prepare you for the weight of glory that is about to descend upon your life. Think about this carefully. A foundation that is poured too quickly cracks under pressure. A sword that is forged too fast shatters in battle. A harvest that is rushed produces fruit that rots before it can be consumed. The Most High was not withholding your blessing because he was angry with you. He was perfecting both the blessing and the one who would receive it. He was strengthening the walls of your character so they could contain the magnitude of what was coming. He was deepening the roots of your faith so they could anchor you when the winds of abundance began to blow, because abundance carries its own storms, and only those with deep roots can stand in both trial and triumph. Archangel Michael watched you during that process. He saw the moments when patience felt like a prison rather than a virtue. He witnessed the tears that came from exhaustion rather than sadness. He observed the quiet acts of obedience that nobody else noticed. The times you chose to praise when you felt like screaming, the moments you lifted others when you yourself were barely standing. The decisions you made to keep believing when every logical cell in your brain was telling you to surrender. Those invisible acts of faithfulness were not invisible to heaven. They were recorded. They were celebrated. Every time you chose trust over surrender, the celestial realm responded with preparation. Your obedience in the darkness accelerated the construction that was happening in the unseen. This is a principle that most people never discover. The speed at which your blessing materializes is directly connected to the quality of your faithfulness during the periods when you cannot see any progress whatsoever. Right now, I want you to pause and think about one person in your life who is currently walking through their own season of unbearable waiting. Someone who has almost given up. Someone whose faith is hanging by a thread so thin that one more disappointment might sever it completely. You know who that person is. Their face just appeared in your mind. Archangel Michael is asking you to be the bridge that carries this message to them. Share this with at least 3 people who are silently drowning in their own delay. Send it through your WhatsApp group, post it in your church group, or text it directly to that friend who stopped talking about their prayers because they lost hope. This is not about a video. This is about rescue. Today, you become the instrument through which heaven reaches someone who has almost stopped believing. Consider what Archangel Michael is telling you about the architecture of divine removal. Every element that departed from your life during the waiting season was extracted with surgical intention. The Most High did not allow random losses. He curated departures. He selected with exact knowledge which connections, which opportunities, and which circumstances needed to be lifted away so that the incoming blessing would have uncontaminated ground to take root. It may have felt like chaos at the time. It may have appeared as though your life was unraveling without purpose. But each thread that was pulled served a specific function in the reconstruction of your reality. The Most High wants you to understand the precision with which your story has been authored. Nothing in your journey has been random. Not the people who left. Not the opportunities that dissolved. Not the doors that slammed in your face with such force that the echo still rings in your memory. Every single one of those events was a divine edit, a deliberate removal of elements that would have contaminated the purity of what was being prepared. The people who departed from your life were not stolen from you. They were redirected because their presence in your next chapter would have introduced complications that would have diminished your blessing. This is difficult to accept when the departure felt like abandonment. This is hard to embrace when the closed door felt like rejection. But Archangel Michael tells you, with the full authority of heaven, what felt like loss was actually protection. What appeared to be denial was actually divine quality control. The Most High was not removing good things from your life. He was removing incompatible things from your life, so that when the aligned elements arrived, there would be no interference, no distortion, and no dilution of the blessing. Archangel Michael now turns to address something that has been hiding beneath the surface of your awareness, something you have not spoken aloud to another human being because you were afraid of what it might mean. During the longest stretches of your waiting, during the periods when the silence became so thick it felt like it had physical weight, a thought began to form. A thought you pushed away every time it surfaced, but that kept returning with increasing persistence. The thought was this: what if I have been forgotten? What if the promises I received were not actually for me? What if I misheard the voice of the Almighty and built my entire expectation on a foundation of misunderstanding? Archangel Michael confronts that thought directly today. He does not dismiss it with empty reassurance. He demolishes it with evidence. Here is the evidence. If the promises were not for you, you would not still be here. The adversary has spent years trying to convince you to walk away. He deployed discouragement, isolation, comparison, confusion, and every weapon in his arsenal designed to make you release your grip on what was spoken over your life. And yet, here you stand. Still holding on. Still believing even when belief costs you everything. Still returning to the presence of the Most High despite every reason your circumstances have given you to stay away. That persistence is not human. That endurance is not natural. What has been keeping you anchored through the storm is the very hand of the Almighty gripping your spirit from the other side. You thought you were holding on to the promise, but the truth is, the promise was holding on to you. The Most High would never allow you to maintain faith in something He did not intend to fulfill. Your continued belief is the loudest confirmation heaven can give you. The promise is real. The timing is now, and the delivery is already in motion. Now Archangel Michael pulls back the curtain on what has been happening in the invisible dimension surrounding your life, and what he reveals will forever change the way you understand divine timing. While you sat in your room wondering if anyone was paying attention, the Most High dispatched an entire division of angels with specific assignments connected to your breakthrough. These were not general-purpose messengers. These were specialized celestial operatives, each one carrying expertise in a different area of your situation. Some were sent to financial systems to rearrange the flow of provision toward your address. Others were deployed to relational networks to soften hearts that had hardened against you and to position new allies in locations where your paths would naturally intersect. Still others were assigned to your physical body, working at the cellular level to reverse damage that the stress of prolonged waiting had inflicted on your organs, your nervous system, and your immune response. Every single one of these angelic operations required coordination. They could not all happen simultaneously, because the success of one mission depended on the completion of another. A door could not open until the person on the other side of that door had been prepared to receive you. A financial breakthrough could not arrive until the vessel through which it would flow had been positioned correctly. A healing could not manifest until the emotional root that had been feeding the physical symptom had been addressed. The Most High was conducting a symphony of simultaneous operations across multiple dimensions, and the baton could not come down on the final note until every instrument was in position. This is why you had to wait. Not because heaven was slow. Not because your faith was insufficient. Not because your prayer lacked power. You waited because the blessing was so comprehensive, so multidimensional, and so intricately connected to dozens of other moving pieces that it required divine precision timing to bring every element into alignment at once. And Archangel Michael tells you today that alignment has been achieved. Every piece is in position. Every instrument is tuned. The conductor has raised the baton, and the symphony of your breakthrough is about to begin its opening measure. Listen carefully now, because Archangel Michael is about to name something that you have been carrying without realizing it. Something that attached itself to your spirit during the darkest stretch of your waiting and has been operating as an invisible anchor, slowing your progress and distorting your perception of divine movement. It is the spirit of weariness. Not ordinary tiredness, not physical exhaustion that sleep can remedy. This is a bone-deep fatigue of the soul that settled into your being when hope deferred made your heart sick. It wrapped itself around your motivation and squeezed until the very act of believing felt like lifting a boulder with your bare hands. It infiltrated your prayer life and turned passionate intercession into mechanical repetition. It poisoned your imagination and made it impossible to picture the fulfilled promise because your mind had been trained by disappointment to expect only more of the same. Archangel Michael calls that spirit by its name today and commands it to release its hold on you. In the authority of the Most High, that weariness is being stripped from your being right now, not tomorrow, not after one more season of endurance. Right now, as these words enter your consciousness, the chains of spiritual exhaustion are snapping like threads under the weight of divine power. The fatigue that made your faith feel heavy is evaporating in the presence of the celestial fire that Archangel Michael carries into this encounter. Type this powerful declaration: I am free from the chains of weariness, and I rise into my divine season of fulfillment. Let those words become the official record of this moment, the moment when the invisible weight was identified, confronted, and permanently removed from your journey. But weariness was not the only intruder. Archangel Michael also identifies a second force that has been operating in the shadows of your waiting, the spirit of comparison. This is the poison that entered your bloodstream every time you watched someone else receive what you had been praying for. Every celebration you witnessed that was not your own. Every testimony you heard that reminded you of what you still lacked. Every social media post that displayed the abundance of others while your own fields remained barren. Comparison did not make you a bad person for noticing, but it gave the adversary a doorway through which he whispered the most destructive lie of all, that the Most High loves others more than he loves you. That lie is being demolished right now by the authority of Archangel Michael. The Most High does not distribute his affection based on a ranking system. His love for you is not diminished by his love for another. The blessings that reached others before reaching you were not evidence of divine preference. They were evidence of different timelines operating on different schedules for different purposes. The person who received their breakthrough before you was not more favored. They were on a different circuit. Their wiring was complete before yours because their assignment required an earlier deployment. Your assignment required a longer preparation period because the magnitude of what you were about to carry demanded deeper foundations, thicker walls, and more reinforced structures. Today, Archangel Michael severs the root of comparison from your spirit permanently. You will no longer measure your progress against another person's timeline. You will no longer interpret another person's blessing as evidence of your own rejection. From this moment forward, you will understand with unshakable certainty that your story operates on its own divine clock, and that clock has just struck the hour of fulfillment. Now, listen to what is actively happening in the spiritual atmosphere around you at this very second. The principalities that were assigned to delay your progress are being dismantled, not weakened, not pushed back temporarily. Dismantled at the structural level so they can never reassemble against you in the same configuration again. Archangel Michael has received authorization from the throne to execute a campaign of total liberation on your behalf And that campaign is underway right now as these words wash over your consciousness. The barriers that stood between you and your answered prayers are dissolving. Not slowly, not gradually. They are collapsing with the sudden finality of walls that have been struck at their load-bearing points by the precision of celestial engineering. Everything that was stuck is now moving. Everything that was frozen is now thawing. Everything that was sealed shut is now breaking open under the irresistible force of divine decree. Can you feel the shift in your chest right now? Can you sense the atmosphere around you becoming lighter? As though an invisible cloud that had been hovering over your existence for years is being burned away by the approaching sunrise of your new season? That sensation is not fantasy. That is the real-time impact of angelic activity in your immediate vicinity. Archangel Michael is here. His presence is not symbolic. It is operational. And the operation he is conducting right now is the systematic removal of every obstacle, every hindrance, every spiritual blockade, and every demonic assignment that has been standing between you and the fullness of what the Most High declared over your life. The evidence of this shift will begin to appear in your physical reality faster than you expect. Within days, not weeks or months, you will start noticing things that can only be explained by divine intervention. Conversations will take unexpected turns in your favor. Information will reach you through channels you did not anticipate. Resources will appear from sources you did not cultivate. People you have never met will feel compelled to assist you without being asked, and they will not fully understand why they feel drawn to help, but you will know. It is the hand of the Most High working through human vessels to deliver what has been stored for you in the heavenly warehouses. Opportunities that were sealed in vaults of impossibility are now spilling out into the corridors of your daily life. You will encounter them in ordinary places, in grocery store conversations, in waiting room encounters, in the words of a stranger who speaks something over you that perfectly addresses the private petition you have been carrying in your heart for years. Nothing about these encounters will feel forced or manufactured. They will flow with the effortless quality of something that was always meant to happen at precisely this moment. The financial provision that seemed permanently out of reach is now being routed toward you through circuits that were activated by angelic hands within the last 72 hours. Archangel Michael tells you that specific calculations have been completed in the celestial treasury regarding the exact amount required to not only meet your current need, but to establish you in a position of overflow, so generous that you become a source of provision for others who are still walking through their own wilderness. The healing you have been petitioning for, whether it concerns your body, your emotions, your memories, or your relationships, is arriving as a complete package. The Most High does not do partial restorations. When He heals to the root. The symptom is addressed, but more importantly, the cause is extracted with surgical precision so that the same affliction can never rebuild itself in the same location. What is being removed from your life today is being removed permanently. Archangel Michael now issues the charge for today. This is the moment the entire message has been building toward. Every word that preceded this point was preparation for what you are about to receive. Beloved child of the Most High, you are commanded to stand up in your spirit right now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when the circumstances align with your expectations. Right now. The Most High has determined that this is the moment of your rising, and His determination overrides every feeling of inadequacy, every whisper of unworthiness, and every lingering shadow of the season you are leaving behind. You are commanded to release every expectation that your breakthrough will look the way you imagined. The Most High's design for your deliverance exceeds the boundaries of your imagination. What is coming will not fit inside the container you built for it, because it was designed to overflow, to spill out beyond the walls of your planning, and to flood areas of your life you did not even include in your prayers. Stop trying to predict the shape of your miracle. Simply receive it with open hands, open heart, and open spirit. You are commanded to speak over your own life today with the authority that has been delegated to you as a child of the Most High. Your words carry power that you have not been using. The declarations you make in the coming hours will set the trajectory for everything that unfolds in this new season. Do not waste those words on doubt. Do not pollute them with anxiety. Speak life. Speak abundance. Speak healing. Speak freedom. Speak the very things you have been praying for as though they have already arrived, because in the spiritual realm they have. The delivery is already in transit. Your words are simply opening the front door. Type this declaration with fire in your spirit. I arise today into the fullness of my divine inheritance, and nothing shall hold me back. Those are not passive words. They are weapons. They are spiritual artillery fired from the cannon of your faith directly into the fortifications that have surrounded your promised land. When you type them, walls fall. When you speak them aloud, chains disintegrate. When you believe them with the core of your being, every locked door in the universe swings open simultaneously. Archangel Michael has one more truth to deliver to you before this message reaches its crescendo, and it is perhaps the most important truth of all. The Most High has not simply been preparing your breakthrough. He has been preparing you for the breakthrough. There is a profound difference between those two statements, and understanding that difference will determine whether you walk into your new season with confidence or with hesitation. If the Most High had only been preparing the blessing, He could have delivered it at any point. The resources were available. The angels were ready. The circumstances could have been arranged overnight. But the Most High in His infinite wisdom understood that a blessing delivered to an unprepared vessel does not produce joy. It produces chaos. Money given to a person whose character cannot steward it responsibly becomes a curse rather than a gift. A relationship placed into the hands of someone who has not healed from their past wounds becomes a battlefield rather than a sanctuary. A promotion granted to an individual who has not developed the emotional resilience to handle pressure becomes a prison rather than a platform. The Most High was not withholding good things from you. He was withholding them from destruction. He was protecting the blessing by protecting the recipient. He was ensuring that when the breakthrough arrived, it would land in soil that was deep enough, fertile enough, and strong enough to sustain it for a lifetime rather than a moment. You are that soil. And today the Most High declares that your preparation is complete. Now hear the final decree of Archangel Michael, delivered with the full weight of celestial authority, and sealed by the throne of the Most High Himself. By the unchangeable word of the Almighty, the season of delay in your life is officially terminated. Not paused, not interrupted. Terminated at the root level, so that no remnant of its influence can survive in the atmosphere of your new reality. The decree has been spoken in the halls of eternity, and recorded in the books that govern the movement of time, matter, and destiny across every dimension of existence. Every prayer you have ever uttered with faith is now being answered simultaneously, not sequentially, not one at a time, simultaneously. The dam that held back the accumulated provision of years has been shattered by the voice of the Most High, and the flood of blessing is pouring through the breach with a force that no opposition can contain, redirect, or diminish. Every spiritual chain that was attached to your potential is now disintegrating under the heat of divine fire. The links are melting. The anchors are releasing. The weights are falling away. You are rising with the acceleration of a vessel that has been freed from every burden that gravity and resistance had imposed upon it. Every door that was sealed against you is now swinging open with such force that the hinges cannot contain the momentum. These are not doors you need to push. They are doors that the hand of the Almighty has flung open from the other side, and they will remain open because the authority that opened them answers to no earthly power. This decree is irreversible. No demon can overrule it. No circumstance can delay it. No human decision can obstruct it. No weapon forged against you can alter the trajectory that has been set by the spoken word of the Creator of all things. What the Most High has declared over your life today stands forever, and Archangel Michael has been commissioned to enforce every syllable of this decree with the full military power of the celestial army. It is done. It is sealed. It is yours. Beloved child, you have received the full measure of what heaven intended for you through this encounter. The decree has been spoken. The chains have been named and broken. The blessings are in transit. The doors are open. The angels are deployed. And your spirit has been officially released from the bondage of waiting into the freedom of fulfillment. Before you go forward into this magnificent new chapter, Archangel Michael invites you to carry this blessing outward. Think of that person whose face keeps appearing in your thoughts. The one who cried alone last night. The one who has stopped praying because disappointment consumed their hope. Share this message with at least 2 of those precious souls right now. Send it through a direct text message to that friend who needs it most, or drop it in your Facebook group where others are silently struggling. When you extend this lifeline, you are not merely sharing content. You are participating in the rescue mission of heaven itself. And, as this divine awakening continues to expand within you, know that this work of carrying heaven's voice to weary hearts does not sustain itself. It grows through the faithfulness of those who have been touched by it. If this message has become a lifeline for your spirit, if these encounters have anchored your faith during seasons when everything else was shaking, Archangel Michael invites you to join the community of believers who sustain this mission through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether through a membership that grants you deeper fellowship and daily devotional access, or through a one-time seed of support on Ko-fi, your generosity becomes fuel for a ministry that reaches the broken, the forgotten, and the desperate across every corner of the earth. Every contribution, regardless of its size, is transformed by the hand of the Most High into light that pierces darkness you will never see, but that exists because someone needed exactly what this message delivered to you today. Now, subscribe to this channel if you have not yet done so. Press that notification bell, and ensure that the next divine appointment reaches you without delay. The messages that flow through this space are not random productions. They are precision deliveries from the throne room, and the one meant for your next critical moment is already being prepared. Gracious and Almighty Father, sovereign over every dimension of time and every corner of creation, we come before your throne with hearts overflowing with gratitude for what you have spoken today. We thank you for Archangel Michael and the decree he has delivered on your behalf. We thank you for the chains that have been broken, the doors that have been opened, and the blessings that are even now pouring through the breach into the lives of every soul who received this message with faith. We ask you, Father, to seal this encounter with your holy fire. Let every word that was spoken become an indestructible anchor in the spirit of your child. Let the decree of liberation stand against every storm, every accusation, and every attempt of the adversary to steal what has been declared. Protect the breakthrough that is in transit. Accelerate the delivery. Multiply the provision beyond what was requested, so that your child becomes not only a recipient of your goodness, but a conduit through which your abundance flows to others. We declare that the season of waiting is finished. We declare that the season of fulfillment has begun. We declare that no weapon, no circumstance, no force of darkness, and no shadow of doubt shall reverse what has been sealed in the courts of heaven today. In the mighty and matchless name above all names, it is done. It is settled. It is yours, beloved child of the Most High. Amen and amen.